Hi, this time I wanted to talk about engaging combats in tabletop role playing games. This is going to be particularly beneficial for initiative based systems. Not necessarily, but it is much more beneficial, definitely. First, let's talk about initiative. Some people like it, some people dislike it. When it comes to the people that like initiative in their battles, in their RPG battles, it's because in real combat situations, sometimes the opponent has the initiative. The combatant moves against the other participant in the fight. He's taking the battle to the foe. He's acting first. Whatever the case may be, he's taking the initiative. But other times, combat happens simultaneously. They immediately start to exchange blows and such. So it is quite debatable to when it comes to how to handle things in a tabletop RPG with initiative or without initiative. It's all about your preference when it comes to tactical and strategic considerations. In the case of those that prefer initiative, they are thinking about the turn order. They are thinking, if I use this spell now or disenchantment, it's going to last until this number of turns pass or this number of rounds, and then it dissipates. Or maybe I need to wait for these two characters to act first, and then, or maybe you have those mechanics in the system where you choose to wait for characters to act first, and then you carry out your tactics, your strategies, you use your edge, your feats, your powers, whatever. Others may think that that is too cumbersome, that they prefer a more, what they would consider a more organic approach, and they want things to happen at the same time immediately. In the case of my actual play, if you haven't seen it, please check out the link in the description. The Quick and Classic RPG system employs no initiative. It's organic, freeform, completely, you could say completely roleplay based combat without that uh, game element of strategy and tactics that is put a bit to the side. It's still very fun. But like I said, in the case of initiative battles, there can be some boring moments. How many times have you been through this situation? Combat starts. You roll initiative. You determine the turn order. That's it. It's your turn. You carry out your actions. You use your powers. Pretty exciting. Okay, now you need to wait for the other members in the group to carry out their actions. Fine. Now you need to wait for the enemies to take their actions, and you cannot do anything because you need to just stand there. Your armor class or your agility or any other bonuses, values, depending on the system, your defense, etc. That's the only thing that decides if you get hit or not. So you need to wait for your turn. The enemy takes his or her turn, the group of enemies. Now it's your turn again. You get to act again. Wow. Now you need to wait for the other members of the party. Now you need to wait for the enemy. It's your turn again. You get to act. Now you need to wait for the members of the party. Now you need to wait for the enemy. You see, it can get a bit tedious. Of course, the actions that you carry out during your turn, they also influence how you are going to be attacked in the next turn. Maybe you took the higher ground. Maybe you employed some sort of protective spell. Maybe you took some sort of battle stance. That could add bonuses, penalties, etc. to your condition, to your position during the next combat turn when the enemy attacks you. But the player can lose engagement, can lose that intensity. So here is the solution: reactive combat. I always give my players the opportunity to describe how they are defending themselves, even if they are not making rolls. And there are mechanics and sub mechanics between different D20 based systems to make rolls instead of having a static armor class value. Some optional rules like that, but you don't even need to roll. Have the player describe that. Maybe I say something like, the assassin starts to stab upwards and downwards, trying to hit your head and your gut in a flurry of attacks. The player could say something like, I parry desperately while trying to hit the assassin with the pommel of my sword. I make the roll, and depending on that attack roll, maybe the player actually, because of his description, that player obtained a bonus to his armor class or defense or whatever, and he parries the attacks. And because he said he was pummeling, he did so great. The enemy rolled so poorly that he actually scores 2 points of damage. He got the pummel of his sword into the enemy's head, and the enemy takes a bit of damage. It was just like a glancing blow, but it's still a bit of damage. And now the player is engaged with the character all the time during combat. So the next initiative round, even if you prefer to roll initiative for each round, now the player attacks, waits for the other members of the party. Oh, it's your turn. Your enemy, it's the turn of the enemy. The enemy is going to attack you. How will I do? How will I react to this? Well, the enemy is throwing a fireball at me. Well, I'm just going to raise my shield and crouch as much as I can. And now maybe you have a penalty to your next move because you are crouching. But maybe this gives you a bonus in your saving throw. So whether your enemy is using spells, projectiles, attacking you up close and personal, describe how you want your character to defend or to dodge or evade or counter strike against those attacks. Maybe you roleplay things so well according to the patterns of the enemy attack that the game master will actually give you an automatic success, perhaps an automatic miss on the part of the enemy. Maybe you were quite poor in your description. Maybe the enemy is this weird enemy with tentacles and many mouths, and you handle things in a very standard way. Like I dodged to the side or something, but you didn't count on a tentacle with a mouth at the end attacking you from the side. And now you get automatically hit. So that puts great emphasis on role play, a lot of excitement. Or like I said, maybe you attempt something completely different. And instead of just parrying, you start to swing around, trying to cut the mouths and the tentacles. And maybe that actually gives you an automatic success because the enemy is taken aback that you were actually trying to injure it when it was pretty much charging at you. It's all about that. The game master must be mindful of applying bonuses, penalties, automatic successes, automatic failures, attacks of opportunity, perhaps. Perhaps it could be anything. It depends on how you handle things. But just look at how wonderful things now proceed. Initiative happens, the turn order is determined, you take your actions, the other party members take their actions, the enemy takes their action, and now you also take your actions at the same time by describing the character's way of evading, dodging, parrying. You're always engaged. In my actual play, take a look at when that mummy type of enemy picked around the corner and shot this beam of unholy light at the party. Esben, played by C4 Crispy, made a half roll to the side. Killian, played by Full Metal State, dropped low. He basically dropped prone and crawled backwards. As you can see, that actually cost him a couple of rounds of combat because he backed away and he was prone. He couldn't get there in time to assist C4 Crispy. So C4 Crispy had to go one-on-one, pretty much one-on-one with the creature. It was quite engaging. The next time you carry out combat, no matter what system you are using with initiative or without initiative, make it perfectly clear before the session starts to the players that they can describe how their characters are going to react to the enemy's attacks for bonuses, penalties, and perhaps automatic failures or successes. That way they will always be engaged in battle. Thank you for watching this video. If you have your own ideas on these, thoughts, questions, anything, please let me know in the comment section. As always, thank you for your comments and your likes. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that, will be in the description below. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. Once again, thank you, and see you later.